The next major release of Microsoft Windows, dubbed Windows 8, is scheduled for release to the public sometimes in 2012. The Windows 8 user interface has been completely redesigned and is completely different from the traditional desktop environment that users have been used to since Windows 95. In early 2012, Microsoft made available to the public a free beta version of Windows 8, and since mid-March I have been running Windows 8 on my desktop PC. In this episode of Tech Report, I'm going to review Windows 8 not as a tablet operating system, but instead rate its performance on a traditional desktop PC. The user interface in Windows 8 has been completely rethought. Microsoft calls it an evolutionary change, but when I first saw it, I considered it an oversimplified piece of garbage. Microsoft says they've designed the user interface to be compatible with both traditional desktop PCs, using mice and keyboards, as well as touchscreen-only tablet devices. However, when I first saw pictures of the operating system, I was scratching my head trying to figure out how the operating system would handle basic tasks that a desktop can, such as multiple monitors, or even running legacy desktop applications. Nevertheless, in mid-March I took the plunge and installed Windows 8 on an empty hard drive connected to my desktop PC, and since then I haven't looked back. Many people say that the real power of Windows 8 is when it's running on a touchscreen device. However, myself and many people like me are going to be running desktop computers for years to come. So I thought it would be interesting to do a review on how Windows 8 performs on a desktop PC. In this review, I'm going to all but completely ignore the Metro interface and explain to you how you can use Windows 8 as a traditional desktop environment with a mouse, keyboard, and applications you're familiar with using. So, after installing Windows 8, when you first boot up, you are presented with the start screen, which should look something like this. Now, this is your new tablet-friendly Metro user interface that Microsoft is trying to force on us. However, click on the tile marked Desktop, and suddenly you're thrown into an all-too-familiar Windows desktop environment. We're doing good so far, but the first shocker came to me when I was looking for the Windows Start menu. I couldn't find it. After doing some research, I quickly discovered that the Start menu was not only hidden, but had been removed from Windows 8 Beta, and possibly removed from the operating system for good. After my initial panic subsided, I came across what's called the Links toolbar. The Links toolbar can be installed into your taskbar by right-clicking on any empty space and selecting Toolbars and then Links in the next menu. By default, the Links toolbar only has shortcuts to a few different web pages in it, but you can quickly customize that. Just open up the Links toolbar under C, Users, followed by your username, Favorites, and Favorites bar, and you can place any shortcut to any website, or any application, or any batch file you want. Place a few application shortcuts in there, and then click on the two arrows after the word Links in your taskbar. All of a sudden, what appears is a box with shortcuts to all your applications. Very similar to a mini start menu. I even tossed a folder with a couple of batch files into the Links toolbar so that I can easily reboot or shut down my computer from the start menu, just like I would in Windows 7. Now, I know it's not a complete replacement for the Start menu, and if you want to search through all your programs that are installed, you're still going to have to use the Metro user interface. But after several weeks of using the Links toolbar in combination with the Metro UI, I have discovered that life without the Windows Start menu is indeed worth living. Microsoft is really pushing cloud integration services with Windows 8. When you first install the operating system and are asked to set up your initial user account, Microsoft gives you the option of setting up a local user account or a Windows Live account. I personally don't like the idea of linking my PC at home with a server somewhere on the internet that could potentially be compromised. I also don't know how the computer would handle logging in without an internet connection, but for braver souls out there, the integration between Windows Live and your Windows PC could, I suppose, be convenient. With all this cloud integration, I was really hoping Microsoft would have included support for the open CalDAV protocol of synchronizing calendars. Unfortunately, I was out of luck. When I opened the calendar application in the Metro UI, I was asked to sign into or create a Microsoft account. Apparently, Microsoft really wants to push their own cloud services with Windows 8. Unfortunately, for many users, myself included, we don't have a Microsoft account, and I don't ever have the intention of signing up for a Microsoft account. Unfortunately, the same is true for the default email application as well. Launch it, and you're faced with a screen telling you to sign into a Microsoft account. Hopefully, by the time the final release of Windows 8 comes to market, Microsoft will have realized their error, and you'll be able to use your computer with email services and calendar services other than those sanctioned by Microsoft. On to some good news now, and those of us with multiple monitors should be extremely happy with Windows 8 because Microsoft has included a fantastic new feature, multiple taskbars. Now, when you boot up on a Windows 8 computer with 2 or more monitors connected and launch the desktop application, you can see a taskbar displaying on each of your monitors. You can then easily configure the taskbars to display only the programs that are running on the associated monitor. As you can see, when I take a window and drag it from one monitor to another, the icon in the taskbar on the first monitor disappears and then subsequently reappears on the second monitor. Now, aside from essentially tripling my taskbar real estate, Microsoft has also made it extremely easy for me to locate running programs and minimize them or maximize them as I need. A double thumbs up for the multiple taskbars in Windows 8. Windows Explorer has also been completely redesigned in Windows 8 and now features the so-called ribbon that has been a part of Microsoft Office since 2007. For myself, and most of the people I talked to before making this video, the most common way of manipulating files in Windows is to use keyboard shortcuts or drag and drop operations. However, I know there are still a few users out there that use context menus, and I think that the Windows 8 ribbon interface is actually a more intuitive way of interfacing with Windows Explorer. It's just got a bit of a learning curve, but like everything with Windows 8, once you overcome that learning curve, I think it's going to be a lot simpler for people to use. Windows Explorer isn't the only facelift that Windows 8 has received. The Task Manager has gotten a complete overhaul as well. Opening Task Manager now reveals a much more user-friendly window than previous versions of Windows had. The default tab is called Processes, and it shows quite simply how many resources each of your running applications is taking. You can kill processes from this window, or switch to the Details tab for a more traditional list of processes. Also available through Task Manager is a list of all the programs that are set to run at startup. Now, it's much easier to access these programs through Task Manager rather than firing up msconfig as I would have done on a previous version of Windows. You can disable and re-enable startup applications by right-clicking. The Performance tab yields a detailed list of system resources, just as you would expect from previous versions of Windows, and the Users tab, as also in previous version of Windows, shows a list of users currently logged into the PC. So far, from what I have discovered, software and hardware compatibility in Windows 8 is pretty darn good. From my experience thus far, any piece of hardware that is successfully run in Windows 7 will also run successfully in Windows 8. Software support is almost as good. The only program that I have found so far which doesn't run properly in Windows 8 is WinTV version 7. WinTV is an application made by Hoppage, and it allows you to watch and record live TV on your PC as long as you have a Hoppage TV tuner installed. The reason I use Hoppage WinTV is because it has fantastic support for multiple TV tuners. If I want to watch 4 television channels at once, all I have to do is launch 4 instances of the Hoppage WinTV application, and I can watch a separate channel on each window. This is because I have 4 tuners in my PC. Under Windows 7, 4 instances of WinTV ran without an issue. However, in Windows 8, running more than 2 instances of WinTV caused the system to freeze and become generally unstable. I've alleviated some of the problems by running WinTV in compatibility mode. However, the video still stutters and glitches out occasionally when I'm running more than 3 television channels at once. Hopefully this is an issue that Microsoft or Hoppage is going to repair in the future. Windows 8 is a brand new operating system that Microsoft is taking a huge gamble on. The new Metro user interface has been designed with tablet users in mind, but the inclusion of a classic Windows desktop environment means that older applications will still run fine, and users with desktop computers won't be forced into using an underpowered UI. Windows 8 is available as a free preview download right from Microsoft, so if you're feeling just a little bit adventurous, why not give it a try yourself? For Tech Report, this is Christopher, reporting.